I did want to let you know I am recording for me, not you, to send out to my people.
Oh,
just for fidelity and things like that and ways to grow. So that is a gift for you.
thanks.
This
That's
is
so
also for you. And this just kind of helps us kind of talk about the different pieces that we saw today.
Okay.
At the end, we're going to try to set a goal of something that you want to work on. And so, yeah. But anyways, do you want to go ahead and just kind of tell me about your lesson? You can kind of use this as a guide if you want, or however it makes more sense to you to talk about it.
Alrighty.
I'd love to hear about it.
Just like this lesson?
Yeah.
Okay, I think my kids did really good in phonemic awareness. They're pretty good at changing the medial sound. They did good at changing the initial sound. Phonics and spelling, I feel like they struggle a little bit with adding those blends, like the second letters. Sometimes they struggle with that. And they're really good at holding things in their brain. So, they'll add, an in there because they're going back to the glued sounds. So I feel like we're still struggling with that a little bit.
How is teaching the lesson for you? How are you doing on following the script? All of that.
Sorry, I was talking about all my kids.
No, you're fine. You're fine.
I like it. I feel like it's easy to follow.
Okay.
I like how they say, I like the little blue parentheses that say what they should be saying back to you. I feel like that's really helpful.
I must say, great catch. There are mistakes in the script all the time. I probably have submitted 25 changes.
Oh, no.
And so I actually wrote that down. I'm gonna send an email about it today. But anytime you see something wrong, you can go to your little butterfly
Yes.
and send and share feedback. And they will take care of it pretty quickly.
Okay.
Or anything you want changed wise. If something's not flowing right or you think that something would be improved, share your feedback because they will listen.
Awesome.
Yeah. All right. So tell me about what else.
The only thing I feel like I struggle with is keeping them engaged.
Okay.
During that, because I have some really fast finishers and I have some really slow ones that are I have some dyslexia that he needs some extra time and then some attention ones. So I feel like I wish there was something for my higher ones to do for a second instead of talk.
Yeah.
So
I'm glad you kind of brought that up because phonics and spelling is the biggest portion of the lesson. And that actually, it includes the review, the instruction, the dictation, the eraser game. The most common, it goes on, right?
Yeah.
We actually want to keep it to 27 minutes.
Okay.
So it's hard, but pacing will help. And the other thing is, I know you talked about keeping attention the entire time your kids were at the carpet. Have you ever tried them at their desk?
Yeah, but I have a few with ADHD and ADD. And so I feel like if they're not right there, then even if I walk around, they're finding something in their desk to mess with or that's what I started out at the beginning of the year. But I found that if I pull them all right in front of me, they do a lot better.
Okay.
But I haven't tried going back to that recently. That's been since the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
So maybe I could try that. Yeah.
So another thing that someone has done for dictation and all the different parts is they had a fun little thing that the kids did. So for dictation, they stood at their desk. Then when it came to eraser game, they sat, did the eraser game. Then for most common word, they flipped around their chair and sat backwards in their chair like this for the most common word. And then for the sentence, they got to stand again or turn, but you can come up with your own kind of way.
I like that, actually.
And it kind of gets them up and down and gives them a little bit of movement, you know?
Yeah.
So those are just some ideas.
Yeah, I like that.
And feel free to write those down if you want.
And I like those ideas at the desk because it gives them kind of choice. Because, your ones that do fidget, sometimes the choice helps.
Yeah, I have a lot of that.
And I always give mine a choice, but I always tell them, whenever I do it, sometimes I'm like, okay, you have a choice to stand or you have a choice to sit. Make your choice. 3, 2, 1. All right. That's it. But then I give them another chance to make a choice for the next session. Because, it's kind of divided.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I do, some kids do like to sit. They do not like to, it just depends. Sometimes I'll get more behaviors out of someone standing than I do. But wiggling and dancing, it doesn't bother me at their desk or anything.
Yeah, mine are just complaining. They'll be like, my legs hurt. They're really complaining.
The other thing is whenever we give I wrote it down here. Whenever we give the words, so your guided dictation and your eraser game took 21 minutes total. And so we want to shorten that. So some ways that we can shorten it. By the way, I love the clap, clap.
Oh, yeah.
That was so cute. I was like, oh, I love that. That was great. Another one you can do to change it up, if like your kids get bored or something, is popcorn, pop, pop.
Oh, I love that.
I've seen someone go, ch, and the kids go, ch, or all set, you bet. You can be as creative as you want, but sometimes changing it up a little is kind of fun for them, So yeah, but those are just some ideas. So we want to probably try to speed up. You're giving them a lot of time between words, and you probably could kind of cut some of that.
Okay.
Because most of the kids pretty much had it, and then we kind of let them have a little bit too much time.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we give them that little bit too much time, it's kind of hard to get them back in,
Yeah.
And so in some ways, like, they will go as fast as you make them go. So if you're fast, they're going to be like, oh, got to stay focused. I'm getting the next word, and it's write it down, be done. Okay, read it twice. Oh, it's time for me to go. Okay. Like, you can go
But
faster.
how do I not leave my slower ones behind?
So one thing is most of the time your slower ones, you're going to meet them in small group.
They all get pulled out, though.
They all get pulled out. Do you have time for daily stations in class? No.
Not really.
Okay.
I try, like, sometimes I'll try when they come back from PE, but that's usually, like, retesting my ones who are pulled out all the time.
So one thing is if we can cut that 15 minutes off of dictation, that can be a small group time where you've got your other students doing something else and you could meet with them for 15 minutes. So if we can kind of cut some of that time down, you might get it back later.
Okay.
So that's something to think about too. Because I will say they're going to get more with one-on-one or small group than they are with whole group and your other students kind of.
Yeah, I just feel bad leaving them, like, in the dust.
Oh, yeah, we're not leaving them in the dust. So that's why I had you bring your iPad. Do you ever mark them as, like, red, yellow, green by chance?
But then I could never figure out how to make them into groups after that. Like, I felt like I was marking them and then it was just going away.
Okay. So let's look at that. So one thing I will say.
Question that I did have about that, like, does it follow them to the next lesson, or is it just for that?
Just for that.
Okay.
Just for that. So one thing is I noticed that you had it vertically, and like, I will say, have you ever tried turning it horizontal?
No.
Okay, so I'm
you
glad
have
that
it turned
I'm glad that you locked it. So watch what happens when I turn it horizontal. You actually get the full script and the students to mark at the same time.
Oh, cool.
So I have found that this is actually the better way to deliver the lesson is with the horizontal, because you're able to still see the full script and still code your kids without losing the script. So I find that most helpful.
Yeah, I didn't know it did that, so that's cool.
Yeah. The other thing is so I know that it was hard to mark them. So, but when you mark them, you just have to click on the dots and we mark them.
Yeah,
red,
I've done
yellow,
it
green.
before. I just stopped because I felt like it was going away right after I did it.
So you don't lose your stuff. Okay. Now, the sorting and stuff like that, they usually use those skill checks. And I know that y'all have limited stuff. And so what I would do is you kind of, most of the time, your reds and your yellows stay the same. Most of the time.
I mean, I know off the top of my head.
Yeah. So generally, like, the biggest thing is, how many reds would you say you have in your class?
4 to 5.
Okay. So I would try to make sure that we're meeting with those 4 to 5, almost daily if we can, And then with your yellows, we can try to meet them, if we have extra time and things like that. Maybe during that, what was it called? Title time? Title time if they don't get pulled.
Yeah.
So that's another time as well that we could meet with them. But I find it easiest to actually mark the greens and the reds, and then whatever's left over are my yellows. Because my yellows are actually my hardest for me. Maybe it's not for you, but for me, yellows are the hardest to identify.
So, is it a yellow or is it not a yellow? Yeah.
Right. It's those like, we'll see.
In-betweeners.
Exactly. the other thing is whenever I'm giving a word, I try to correct like one or two. And then I loved how you referred back to the projection tool. You were like, okay, does yours look like mine? Let's go up here. Let's look at it. That was great, and they're going to get that feedback from you going back over it.
Okay.
So even if you didn't meet with all of your students that didn't get it, you're still meeting their needs by going over that word on the projection like you have been. So don't feel like you're leaving them behind in the dust. You're not. You are not. I promise you're not. Because we want to keep going, because your highs, like they're ready and they want to keep going too. And they want to keep going too. So, just keep going. One thing you can do is if your lower ones are kind of struggling at the pace that you're going, you can always make a different group for them on here. And I can show you how. Where you've got them in a separate area where you can pull up the script for them. So they might be repeating a lesson from a couple days ago with you at small group.
Oh.
So if you find that beneficial, we could probably do something like that as well.
Yeah.
And that way you're still meeting their needs as well.
Mm-hmm.
So our goal is to pretty much have most of the kids mastery, about 80 to 85%, to where you only have to really work with that small group of students. So don't feel like you're leaving them behind in the dust. They're just fine. Like, you're gonna meet their needs. Okay. So, and I think that was really good. I love that you were using the script to stay on track. You did awesome at that. You didn't get lost. Like, I was like, wow, and you were. There's a lot to read sometimes, and you were right there with it.
I know, she was. She was last time I was in there, too.
I talk really fast anyway, so they have to.
Yeah, and like, I'm going to tell you, your phonemic awareness was perfect. Like, it was less than 5 minutes. That was great.
Okay.
Your review and instruction was right at 10 minutes. That was great. The only thing we need to tighten up is just the dictation.
Yeah, I feel I feel
and I think if we can get that time back, I feel like you're going to get more beneficial time at the end.
Yeah.
And
because my ones that are pulled out for math and reading. So it's like,
that's always hard.
The whole chunk.
Yeah.
That's
it's
really
so hard
hard
to find time to pull them.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then tutoring is only 1 day a week.
And they get pulled out during tutoring.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Because that's when they pull out, that's our rotation time, and that's when they pull out math. So it is like,
we may need to maybe scheduling. Maybe we can look at
that.
Like, that might help.
Like, I can't even find time to retest, and they're the ones who fail everything, and I don't even have time to retest them.
Yeah.
Like, one of them I just had to say, I'm sorry, like there's no time.
Mm-hmm.
It's either that or we're not doing our math lesson or something.
Right. So, but I love the chin check. That was a chin check, I will say a couple of yours are like waving.
Yeah, my back one's waving up.
I don't know how you're able to check them. I'm like, wait, what are they writing?
Fast glance.
Yeah. I've seen some where I sometimes don't say like, hold up your boards. I just skip it and I say, look, does your board match my board?
Yeah.
Because sometimes, I don't know about yours, but mine start hitting each other.
Not yet.
That's good. But I just usually kind of eliminate that. But no, I mean, you're doing really great. Really great. I will say, be careful when stretching the sounds. A couple of times, you try to stretch those blends, and I meant to write down what word it was, but it was like, I think it was black, and you were like, black, and just be careful, because they'll hear that U sound. So whenever we're doing those blends, you always want to do it with a slide.
Okay.
So do black.
Okay.
Kind of like onset rhyme-ish, per se. Or just, this is an L blend, you can give them those types of things. But just be careful in stretching the sounds. A couple of yours were trying to add an extra vowel in the middle, and that's just because they're hearing it. So just be careful with that. But I loved your hand motions. I loved your feedback that you were giving your students. You made sure that everyone was there. You had a good process of materials. Like, your kids were ready. They had their materials. They were ready to go.
2 minutes.
Okay.
Maybe
Sorry.
2 or 3 minutes. Just
Yeah, but just really great job. What would you like to kind of work on for next time? What kind of goal would you like to set?
I feel like definitely probably moving faster, not worrying so much about my little ones.
Okay. So
I
moving
really struggle,
faster.
but I don't wanna, there's a flea.
I know.
I know. And it is, yeah. Moving faster for dictation.
Yeah.
Okay. And our plan is to
Not do
just,
so much time in between each one.
okay. Less time between.
Would you recommend like her higher kiddos, like even like turn into the lower ones and saying and like maybe checking their work while waiting on?
Absolutely. And like you can kind of like have a high next to a low. Like I always tried to sandwich mine between so that they do have support, because you're not going to be able to reach every single one because you are limited on that time. So what you want to try to do is those they're going to get support from their student partners.
Yeah.
And you know who got support and who
Mine
didn't.
are literally greens, red.
There
like,
you go.
I feel like I don't have
Then,
anything
yeah.
in between.
And so yeah, so let's keep going, and then let's work on the reds during small group. So yeah.
Alrighty.
Yeah. So all right. So I've got less time between, pair with higher student, and that you may try some like different transitions possibly. Perfect. So by the end of the day, if you don't mind just scanning that, doing a quick little survey. My name is Emily Jones. And then here's for your goal if you want to write it down. Great job.
Yes.
So,
Thank you so much.
it was a pleasure.
We were cracking up at your little friend who said, "Could we have less practice?"
You're gonna laugh at that. I just want more practice. Oh, can we just have less? Like it was just priceless. Oh, it was great. You did great. Thank you. Don't forget your iPad.
Oh, yeah, I would have.
And try a lesson on the horizontal. See if you like it that
I will
way.
finish because we're not done yet, so I'll finish
Okay.
it like that.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Thank you.